Today's guest is the K-pop superstar CL, who released her debut solo album Alpha in 2021. CL is a rapper, singer, songwriter, actor, style icon, and dancer who has collaborated with some of the biggest names in music and film, from Diplo and Skrillex to the Black Eyed Peas and even John Malkovich. Alpha, which CL released last October under her own self-managed Very Cherry label, marked her return to the global stage, blending genres like hip-hop, rap, K-pop, electronic, and R&B into one incredibly cohesive body of work. So, as you guys know, I've been recording a lot of these interviews on the road, or with guests in different countries, looking at each other over Zoom. But CL and I both happened to be in London at the same time. She was over for a show and I was in the studio writing. So she came to visit and we recorded this in the drum booth, and it was very cozy. And after that, I just kind of went back to writing. I carried on my studio session. It was perfect. It was my ideal day where I got to merge two things that I really love. Anyway, back to the interview. I spoke to CL about her musical roots and what it took to make and release Alpha after all this time, the birth of her alter egos, and much, much more, including her must-try South Korean delicacies and soul hotspots. So here we go, at your service with another very special guest, CL. CL. Hi, CL.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining me. Icebreaker, welcome to London.
I'm happy to be back. I haven't been back in a while.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What are you up to here?
I came here for you.
Yeah.
And to do a little pop-up mini show in London. And it's my first time performing here. So I'm super excited.
That's amazing. And for all our listeners, we did record this earlier, and so the show has happened. So you might be a little upset that CL's show, you might have missed it, but she'll be back.
Yes.
I have a feeling she'll be back.
Yes. So I met everyone there when I was 13. So that's when I started.
Wow.
You know, you learn how to dance and different language. It's like school almost, right?
Okay.
And most people in where I come from, the label I come from, like they were there for like 8 years since they were like 10.
Wow.
I took a little bit of a short course. It took me like 2 years. I did my first stage with the label crew and my first album with 21. And then my solo stuff was in between like 21 projects.
Right.
That's when I started. So that's why it overlaps. But I didn't really get a chance to put music out properly because that was not up to me.
Right.
And that's why I went independent this time.
Well, I think it's really amazing. And you know, the whole idea of kind of breaking away from something that you knew so well.
Yeah.
That you had just grown into an artist during this whole period, but you also realized how important it was for you to be your own person, your own artist.
Yeah.
Yes, these are like amazing skills that you had gained, but becoming independent, you like got your strength back.
Right.
And I also feel like in this industry, as women, we have this unspoken pressure to constantly be at the forefront, you know, be in people's faces and, you know, new music all the time. And so it is actually really amazing that you also gave yourself the time to really, you know, not put yourself under this intense pressure and just give yourself the time to really make the album that you really wanted.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you learned about yourself during this time?
Well, the reason I wanted to make sure I start my first project independently was, especially coming from a girl group, you think that's everything. I didn't think of it as a system until I came to LA in the States and, you know, got to learn more about that different perspective of how you could look at this project and how you make music or be creative. Because I was in like one type of system. Yeah. And, you know, I wanted to give other K-pop artists, like show them that we can do this separately. That is possible, yes. And if we look at it in a good way, I took all the time, but yeah, it's like finally for me. Yeah.
That feeling of that whole kind of like finally it's happening is the best feeling, but it must have been so important also for your mental health, I guess, to take this time and like take a breather and understand who you are on your own as well, because so much of who you are was also on the basis of being in this incredible girl group. Yeah. How do you feel like that impacted your just like your mental health and finding out who you are?
I've been through a lot of ups and downs, finding that balance. But the great thing is I got to tell my story from the beginning of the first album, where I feel like if you're in that system, it's a collaboration. Of course, you're not going to talk about what you don't believe in, but it's also very made. So just the fact that I got to start with that and really tell my story from the beginning feels amazing. Because those are my friends, I consider, and who I grew up with.
Yeah, of course.
So to break out of that and like go independent, I was like scared to do that. But we all start somewhere, and I wanted to grow and make sure I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget how daunting it is to go into like a new experience. I mean, I feel like my whole life I've been going through new experiences. I've been the new girl a lot in different schools. I moved from London to Kosovo and back, and I feel like a lot of that followed me even when you go into the studio.
Yes.
And you're trying to like make yourself feel seen and heard, and you're like, okay, I'm like this young girl, and I want to go out, and I want people to know that I do this all myself, that this is my project, that this is something that I'm passionate about, and you want to be taken seriously as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we all face, maybe more so than our male counterparts, maybe.
Definitely. And we started young.
Yeah.
That's another story.
That's another story, yeah.
So
absolutely.
We're very used to that. But that's why I also started performing. I consider myself a performer, and I started with dancing.
Well, you're damn good at it.
Thank you. But I've been traveling. I grew up in different countries, and you change language, you change school, but music and dance was the only thing that...
Amazing. Well, I'd like some of our listeners to hear some of your record now.
Yes.
And I know this is really hard, but do you think you could pick a highlight from the album for us?
You can't do that to me.
I know. I'm like on the other side. I'm on the other side of the interview. But I feel like it's such a big like turning point for you in your career. And I know all the songs mean so much because when it's your baby, you want to put it out. Like I totally understand that. And I respect, and I'm sure all the fans and listeners understand that your favorite song or your highlight is going to change over time. But is there one that like you feel is like the highlight for you right now? Something that really feels like you identify with the most at this moment?
Okay. I'll choose Paradise.
Oh, all right.
Paradise.
Well, we shall play Paradise. Oh,
Yes.
love Paradise.
Thank you.
Alpha synthesizes so many different genres. You've got pop, K-pop, rap, R&B, hip-hop, electronic, and so much more. And, I also feel like a big part of that is the duality that you have between Korea and then like the US and that kind of feeling of being so multicultural. But what was something that really inspired you? What was like the influence behind the sound and this mix?
This, for now, never say never. There are different genres, but what the sounds that CL can express. And, it's a story, but like you said, there's K-pop and there are new sounds I tried. So I wanted to put that in one album. So this is like the beginning of it.
When I was making my first album, I guess I had so many genres and so many things that I was inspired by and that I loved that I just felt like I just needed to try really figure out, what was the thing that I loved the most. And in the end, I realized that all these little parts make up who I am.
Yes.
And I think we need to celebrate the different parts of who we are because it also makes us really unique.
Yes.
And I think that's amazing in music, but also in everyday life.
I agree.
Celebrate the little parts of our personality.
Yes.
We'll be right back after this short break. All right, so I know our listeners can't see you right now, but you're looking fabulous.
You too. We're wearing all black.
We're in all black. It's very chic in here. You're such a fashion icon.
You can't say
you are. Yes,
what?
I can.
Are we saying this to each other now?
I can appreciate a woman who loves her fashion.
We love.
You kill it.
We love.
I'm so interested to hear about your image and transition from like a member of a K-pop group into a solo artist. And if you feel like that has like changed. Obviously we spoke about, K-pop and that being a system, and I guess knowing that at times it can be very hyper strict and regimented, and now you're independent and you get to be this like free spirit, and I feel like your fashion has always been something very consistent, but I'm always wondering, like, has that evolved on the basis of you moving from being a K-pop artist in the system to like being your own person independently as an artist, and how you express yourself?
For me, I think that's the one thing that we had the freedom back then. I've always loved dressing up. When you're younger, it's not really fashion. It's like you're playing dress up, right? Yeah. And I loved doing that. But back then, everyone had like matching clothes on stage, K-pop girl groups, and that has its beauty. But we were the first one who would wear combat boots or like sneakers on stage. And, I've always been a tomboy So definitely had that in there. And we would go shopping in Japan and had a lot of punk influence. So like our music, 21, it was very loud, and Jeremy Scott had a lot to do with that, being like colorful and sporty, but you know, still an outfit.
Yeah.
And I think me, like as a solo artist, it's more I've aged from then. So I think, you know, it evolves.
You grow
with
and
me.
you evolve with your style.
Exactly. So for me, it's a mix of both worlds. Like I love mixing vintage or I don't know, street and
like
high fashion. Just mixing, like you said, celebrating different types
of things.
Yes.
Yeah, I resonate with that on a very personal level myself because I love the kind of mixing of two different styles and the mixing of genres. And I can't help but like wonder, like maybe is it something to do with dual identity or feeling like you're, you know, multicultural? And I don't know, like maybe that's got to do something with it that you're you're attached to the juxtaposition. And I think that's so beautiful.
Yes, and that's what makes you special. Our fashion, like, special.
Yeah, it makes it really unique.
Yeah.
I guess just in this industry, our industry is so intense and quite cutthroat. Have you ever felt like there have been beauty standards that have been like pushed on you that you wanted to like get away from or change the perspective or talk about it?
So many, definitely. And I think that was my role in the K-pop industry too, where, like I said, fashion-wise, sneakers on stage was a thing, like which shouldn't be because you're just expressing yourself in the music. But that too, and you know, I'm a curvy person, like for being an Asian girl, and that was something I had to push. And also, like, I have this eyeliner I put on every day, and it started from, you know, when I first made our debut. It was a thing to have big eyes with double eyelid. I know that might sound crazy to you,
Okay,
or foreign to you, but it was almost like trendy to have big and double eyelid.
so I've heard about that. This is like a double eyelid surgery or something.
Yes, that was like a big trend back then.
Okay, but that's not natural.
No.
To a natural Asian eye, that's kind of something
Exactly,
that would
it's the
turn it to a more Caucasian looking eye.
Yeah, it's better now, and you know, we celebrate it, appreciate it now.
Yeah,
but
to
back
celebrate
then,
the beauty and you know, to I think it's incredibly important and so important for the younger fans and you know, people that look up to you to just like kind of stick by your natural beauty. You're so gorgeous, and it's always nice to have people looking up to you to just be like, you didn't want to.
Yeah, that was a big part of it, and you know, I ended up not doing it, but all the feedback when you're young, this is how it developed into that, like without getting plastic surgery, which I support if you choose to.
Yeah, if you choose to do it, it's entirely up to
exactly. But if it's not something you want to do and it's not your choice, then, you know.
Did you feel pressured to do something
It
like that?
had, because that's how it was. Not push into it, but that was recommended and I said no. And also like the feedback I got when I first made the debut from the crowd too, because they're so used to a standard of beauty there and I didn't fit into that. It was like, for me at a young age, I was like, oh my God, what do I do?
What do you do, right?
And that's when I started like putting, like kind of studying my face and then studying my makeup and, you know, to like balance that out, which became like my thing now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love the way that you do your makeup. You look
Thank
absolutely
you.
gorgeous. But I think a big part about people, you know, looking up to you is also representation, is having somebody to be able to look up to you and be like, oh, she looks like me and it's beautiful that she hasn't wanted to alter it and change her natural beautiful features. And that's so inspiring, especially in this industry where I feel like as women we're always made to try and change ourselves to look like someone else. And I think it's amazing that you just stuck to your gut.
Thank you.
And I keep saying this as women, but I just, you know, we're always on this journey of loving ourselves. Because for so long, all we see is like what's on TV or what's in the media or what we should look like. And I think it's amazing to start to realize all the beautiful things about you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can move on to talking more about album stuff.
Yeah.
On Alpha, you're introducing some new characters.
Yes.
And you've got Miss Cherry.
Oh.
And
You know
Alpha
about Miss
herself.
Cherry. Okay, yes.
And Alpha is like superhero version of CL.
Yes.
Like, why was it important for you to be able to do that and introduce these characters? And what did those characters let you express?
For me, CL is a character I made because my name is Chaylin.
Yeah.
And CL is a character I made for when I'm on stage and when I'm performing and just imagine, you know? And that's how, in a way, I feel like I faced my fears. And I tell my fans, like, I believe that everyone has a CL in them or alpha in them. And you just need to face it and embrace it
I have
bring
a
it
CL
out
in
of
me.
you.
I have a CL.
And it's like for a long time I separated those two because I keep my private life private.
Yeah.
And with like my friends and family, I like to keep that separate. And CL is a stage presence, right? So I kept that separate for a long time and kept developing it. And now it's actually been like the same year, I think, like as CL and Chaylin that I lived. And now there's Alpha.
I love it.
Yeah. It was almost like finding balance, also embracing your personal life. Because I didn't really get to spend time with me for a long time.
Yeah.
So when I got to do that, making this album, I found that balance.
I love that. For me, at least, or how I feel about music a lot of the time is that when you say something enough to yourself, or you're singing it, or you put it in a song, you almost manifest that energy.
Yes.
So a lot of the time when people like ask me about certain lyrics in my songs or whatever, like, oh, you said this, and I always, this is like my false sense of confidence, right? I've put this in a song in order to make myself feel better. Or make myself feel stronger than I was already feeling at that point.
Yeah.
So I really felt that with you and both with Miss Cherry and Alpha and them being like two sides of you as well. Like the other facets and dimensions of who you are, which I think is really beautiful. And, you know, again, like manifesting that strength, I know, and I'm really sorry to hear this, but that your mum passed away in the middle of your rollout for this album. And I was wondering, you know, did the word alpha like represent something even more for you then? Did it help you get through some difficult times?
Definitely. And, you know, I made a song and a video for her because everything passes so quickly for me and you know, our lifestyle. And I wanted to make sure I take the moment and just remember and give like the time. So, but it was, you know, it's never easy. Yeah. But yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry you went through that. It must be, I can't imagine what that must have been like.
Yeah.
But you're incredibly strong, and so it's amazing to be able to put that into your music and your passion and your art. What is some advice that you feel like you would want to give to trainees in the K-pop world that are embarking in this journey? You know, you've got so much knowledge, so much experience, you've been through so much.
Especially to fellow K-pop artists and female K-pop artists. For me, this project was very meaningful, and so a lot of artists celebrated this with me, which meant a lot to me. Like I said, I feel like I gave them something that they could be like, okay, after this, like younger K-pop generation, like I could do that too by myself, or if they want to, or I could just continue this after being in a girl group. It's different for everyone, but I just want them to know there's a whole world, and that they are beautiful and strong enough always to do whatever they want to do.
I think that goes for all people around the world, you know, the strength and the confidence to have that to really push you to be the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've touched on this a little bit, and I know that you say that you're a performer.
Yes.
And you're so well known for your live performances.
Oh.
Both televised and in concert. Don't sound surprised. Don't sound surprised. So take me through what it takes for you to get from like point A to point Z with a performance. Like how long does it take to conceptualize it all the way to getting on stage?
Damn, it depends. But I love to rehearse.
Yeah.
Because I want to feel free on stage. And I love being on stage, especially live shows, and connect with people. Yeah, it comes from restless nights and figuring it out and it starts from how I imagine it. And I started from dancing, so I love having dancers on stage and dancing together, and how to express that song. But
do you envision it like while you're writing a song?
Yes, sometimes it comes after the song too. Like I create this character or persona and then it builds onto that because we have a message to start with, right? So that's and it kind of builds
around it. The rehearsing thing is something I would love to like touch on, and how we feel like we need to rehearse so much in order to be really good on stage and feel confident in everything that we do. And that was a big part for me going into my second album. I was dealing with so much drama online that I had to get off Twitter and social media because there was just like a moment where I felt like I was working nonstop. I didn't have the time to rehearse. I was doing performances, but because I would go on without really feeling 100% rehearsed, then I didn't really feel good about the performances. Then people would pick on my performances and they'd be like, oh, she doesn't have stage presence, or she can't do this or whatever. And that really had a massive mental impact on me. And it was really important for me when I finished my second album, I was like, right, no matter what happens, as long as I have enough rehearsal time, I can do anything. I just need time to rehearse. And I think I can see that the hours that you put into your performances, into the way that you dance, the way that you move, that is confidence just by way of knowing that you can do it in your sleep. You know?
And that
I
takes
think
time.
That takes time.
It takes time. I could see it too. When I see you perform, you put a lot of, like, even like wardrobe, I could see, I know you adjust for your performance and how you move. I could see that. I could tell. Yeah.
I would love to talk about your movie career.
I don't, it's very short.
Well, look. First, you acted alongside Mark Wahlberg and John Malkovich in Mile 22. Did you have fun doing that?
I had so much fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Really?
No, because I got invited through Pete Berg, the director, and, we were talking about doing my documentary, and he was working on his movie. That's how I got invited. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure this is going to be my first? I did like cameos for Korean movies, but that was playing myself.
Right.
This is,
a completely different character.
Completely different character. And, I was honored to be invited, and I'm such a big fan of John Malkovich.
I heard that he's somewhat of a mentor to you.
He is.
And he's got a little part in your album on Spicy.
That's my only
I saw that. That's very cool.
On my album.
What a cool feature to have on your album. Like, is there any advice that he's given you, or, do you ever advise him on projects?
He was never giving me advice, but his story, because he comes from theater, and him moving on to cinema, like film, back then, I think was a big deal.
Right.
And it was controversial, and, coming especially from his like big theater group in Chicago, all those things, like all those story, and how he felt, and
transitioning.
Into, and that was exactly the time I was getting out of the label, transitioning too. So like all the stories he told me,
you resonated with them,
I just connected to it, and I was like, yes, that's exactly how I felt. And he was the one who told me, just soak it in. If you're sad, whatever you feel, if you're passionate, if you want to move on, if you're ambitious, if you're grieving, or, that's sad that you have to leave the group, just feel it.
Feel it.
Now. Because it's going to be harder to take care of that emotion later. And I took that advice and make sure I took my time until I felt good to move on and, make that album. And just, he was there throughout the process. And I was in LA. And I don't have my family there. So he invited me to his house, and I know his family now. And that really charged my soul. So I'm very grateful for him.
That piece of advice, there's something really to be said about that, about feeling emotions as and when they come. And, understanding that everything is a gift. It's so easy to kind of run away from any trauma by making ourselves even busier. I know that's how I get away from anything painful in my life. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to work and I'm just going to do this and everything's going to be fine. And I'm also learning every day that sometimes sitting in these feelings and emotions and going through the process is so much more beneficial, because feelings do catch up with you, and probably at a point when you don't want to deal with it.
Exactly. It bottles up. And, also I feel like the lesson repeats if I don't deal with it.
If you don't deal
now.
with it then and there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I've learned that lesson. It's important to check on you.
Check on you. I love that. Would you like to do more movie stuff? Have you thought about it?
It was fun, and that was a small part, but I had fun. Yeah, I would love to. If I get a chance to, I would love to do that.
Do you feel like there are similarities between making a movie, acting, and doing a music video? Because I just recently did something, and I kept, people kept being like, surely it's not that different from doing a music video and doing this, but it's vastly different.
Very different.
So I was just wondering if your experience was the same and how...
It was different.
Yeah.
And first of all, what do I know about being an agent, right? I don't know.
Secret agent.
Yeah, and I've, all my life, that's CL, who I'm presenting on stage and in the video.
Yeah.
That took me that long to do that in front of the camera, but to connect to a character like that, and you need to learn about it and expressing it like it and you lived it.
Yeah. It's a whole
totally
different thing.
different. So please be generous but that's why it's I have so much respect for that.
Yeah, diving into new characters and roles is completely different, because with so much of it, especially in music, we're developing who we are, another extension of ourselves, and then diving into your story as this character, this spy, this, whatever it is really interesting. But again, rehearsal, learning, focusing on that thing. You're a perfectionist from what I can tell in this conversation, and I think that's also a very strong and powerful thing.
Thank you. just needed to channel the inner agent in me, inner spy.
I love it. Okay, so this is my favorite part now.
What is it?
My favorite part is your list.
Oh, yes.
And I feel like the best way for me to experience a place when I go, when I visit, when I'm traveling is based around food, based around going to a bar, going somewhere fun, seeing something new. Yeah. And I'm going to Seoul soon. So
I'm gonna be
love to hear about, your top 5.
Okay.
Maybe that's too many. I don't know. Top 5 Seoul restaurants or like street food or something that you want to like take us somewhere fun.
Yeah. It's
I
hard.
need to experience Seoul by a
you
local. Like I need the lowdown.
Okay.
And so do the listeners. And we're going to feature this list on our newsletter as well. So it'll be like,
wow.
CL's.
So much pressure.
No pressure. This should be fun.
Okay, my list. Well, we need to try the Korean barbecue. I love this place called Born and Bred.
Okay.
It's in the middle of, what do you call that? Like meat market?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hidden.
Amazing. So this is what we want. We want the hidden hotspots.
It's hidden. You go to the second floor where you could buy the meat and they cook you there, in person.
I love
Almost like
that.
omakase.
Perfect.
But with Korean barbecue. Second one would be, have you heard of tteokbokki? So it's spicy rice cake.
Oh, yes. And
Have you tried it?
Maybe I have. I'm not sure.
Maybe you heard of.
But is it the rice cake? They're like long and thin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have had them.
Do you do spicy? Can you?
I'm a big spicy fan.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
I can take the heat.
Let's go. Oh,
I can take the heat.
Okay. So this is street food, but there's one in. Did I just say it? It's in Korean.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Okay. Achasan tteokbokki.
Okay.
And it's like really like street local food, but I think you'll like it. It's very spicy. They have dumplings, like empty dumplings.
Okay. So
Fried.
they're just the dumpling wrap.
Yeah, but with a little bit of those noodles in there.
Okay.
But it's basically just nothing.
Just like a-
fried dumpling. Yeah. But you dip
Okay.
it in.
Oh, and like the hot sauce or something?
Yeah. And then you eat it.
Okay.
And then there's the corn dogs with.
I heard you talking about this in an interview. I need to know about this corn dog situation. I need to know about this corn dog situation.
They love upgrading corn dogs in Korea.
And you can have them sweet.
Yeah,
That's
they
what you were
have-
saying. You can.
They put sugar on top of it. So it's like salty and sugar.
Okay.
And they love that. Or they have like potatoes around it or like cheese. Or do you know those like fish eggs that the red ones? I don't know.
Yeah. Like roe.
Yes, I think that's it.
Yeah.
So they put that in there.
Yeah.
So they like love to play around with
Oh,
that.
fun. See, I'm super adventurous with like flavors and trying out
That's
new
amazing.
things.
Yeah,
so
they have a great spot
what's
there.
the spot? Is it the same?
No, that's a different one. But I'll get the name for
Okay.
the newsletter.
Okay, get
You
us the
can
name for
check
the
that out
newsletter.
in the newsletter.
That sounds
in
perfect.
the newsletter. What's the third one? Oh, Korea. So there's a good place called Dozen Oysters.
Okay.
They just have great
Best.
oysters.
I'm
Yeah.
a big oyster fan. Can you just rock up to any like food stall? Like people
Oh.
don't lose their shit, or do you have to go completely like
Here
incognito?
and there, here and there,
hat,
but you know,
mask,
yeah.
scarf, glasses?
But I learned to be free.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. But yeah, oysters are good, and a really good home Italian food
Oh,
called Duomo. I love the chef there, and it's just home Italian.
is that a place that you always go when you're like home and you're feeling like you want to
Yes.
go out and have a nice Italian?
Yes, it's super casual, but it's just like family.
Just
there.
good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good
amazing.
wine, good food.
And finally, before I let you go, I just wanted to touch on this because you switch between English and Korean on Alpha, which is so
Yes.
cool.
Thank you.
Can you give us your top 3 useful Korean phrases that we need to know when we visit?
Well, I know the first one immediately because, you know, if we want to have a glass of wine, the cheers, you know,
yes.
yeah. You say, 짠.
Jan?
Yeah.
I love it.
Super simple.
So simple.
What else? Is there anything you want to know?
Thank you is always really important.
Right. There's 2 ways to do it.
Okay.
You know, in Korean, there's the more respectful one and the casual one.
And the casual one,
Yeah.
okay.
And there's 감사합니다.
감사합니다, is that
the
like
more,
like grammatical?
one.
Okay.
And 고마워.
고마워? That's more like
Casual to
the
your
casual
friend,
one
yeah.
to your friends.
Yeah.
Okay, so 감사합니다 and 고마워.
고마워. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
All right.
those are 3. I mean, is it 3 or 2?
That's 3. Well, it's 2 thank yous.
thank yous.
2 thank yous
We're
and a cheers.
we are very grateful and appreciative.
Yeah, 2 thank yous and a cheers. It's all you need with a glass of wine.
Definitely. Maybe if you're like calling somebody, you say 저기요.
저기요. Like it's like an excuse me, or like you're trying to catch someone's attention.
Yeah.
저기요.
저기요, and babe is 자기야, so it's really close.
Okay. 저기요 and 자기야. Well, we got more than we bargained for. We got more than we bargained for. Thank you so much, Ciel. This has been an absolute pleasure having you on At Your Service. I've loved listening to you talk about just your incredible experience, your music, your passions, you know, who you are as a person, getting to know you more deeply. And it's just been amazing. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations on this podcast. And yeah, I loved spending time with you. Thank you so much.
You're the best. Thank you so much to the incredible Ciel for her honesty and authenticity in our time together. And thanks so much to all of you for listening. I wanted to briefly tell you all about this week's issue of Service 95, one that's really close to my heart